So you're struggling to get your first SMMA client. Don't worry, because in this video, I'm going to show you the easiest way that you can get started with little to no experience. So the 5-step process I'm going to teach you in this video, I've talked to hundreds of aspiring agency owners who have gone on to actually land clients, some of which in as little as 1 to 2 days after taking action on this 5-step process. So make sure you watch to the end, because this video has a potential to completely transform your life. So step number 1 in this super simple process is to focus your outreach on warm outreach methods, specifically Upwork. So for this to work, I really recommend Upwork.com. Now, if you don't know, Upwork is a freelance website where businesses go on and post jobs for stuff they're looking for help with, right? So this could be e-commerce businesses, local businesses, coaches, influencers. We've even worked with some celebrities on there before. But people go on there, post jobs, and they'll say things like, I need help with Facebook advertising, or I'm looking for a social media manager. What you can then do is create an account and apply to these jobs and offer your services to them. Now, as you can imagine, because these people are actively looking for help, it makes it far easier to actually get a yes from them, because they're actively seeking the exact service that you're offering. So for this step-by-step process, disregard all of your cold emails, all of your cold calls, LinkedIn, all of that stuff. I want you to put 100% effort and focus onto Upwork. So the second part of this process, and this is where it starts to get really, really specific for you. Once you've got an account set up, you've got a profile, and again, I've got videos on all of those topics if you want to go and watch them afterwards. What you want to do is you want to search in the search bar the service that you're offering. So that could be Facebook ads, Google ads, social media management. Then on the left-hand side, you can actually go to the filter section and you can sort by jobs that have the least amount of applicants. So whilst Upwork is fantastic, it's a warm outreach method, the only thing stopping you from landing every single deal is there are other freelancers and agencies also applying for these jobs, a lot of which may have more experience than you. But don't worry, I've taken that all into account, because by going to the filter section and actually filtering by the least amount of applicants, you can actually start applying to some jobs that have only got 1, 2, maybe even 0 other people actually applying to that job. So as you can imagine, if you do this fast, you sort by the jobs that have the least amount of applicants, you go on there, they're very eager to make a hiring decision, you've popped up almost immediately and you start getting a response, your chances of actually closing a deal have just gone through the roof. Rather than applying to a job that's already been on the platform 1 or 2 days, maybe it's got 20, 30, 40, 50 plus applicants, obviously the chances that you close that deal without any experience become thinner and thinner. So sort by the jobs that have the lowest amount of applicants and make sure you solely focus to applying to them. I would recommend 5 to 10 applicants at most. If there's anything between 10 to 20 and above, if you're really looking to be mindful of how many applications you're doing and you want to get a client through the door, you really want to focus on jobs that have got less than 5 proposals, ideally, or between 5 and 10 proposals. So the third part of this system, which is really, really powerful, is you then want to make sure to stand out even more that the outreach that you do is personal. So let's say you've applied to a job that has 5 applicants. The chances are the other 4 applicants have gone on with just a copy-paste cover letter, something that they've already written up, and whilst that can work at scale if you've got a built-up profile, obviously that removes the personalization aspect of it. Now, there's one really cool thing in sales and business, which is basically called the law of reciprocity. And essentially the law of reciprocity is if you do something for somebody, they feel almost obliged to give something back to you. It's a human bias, we all have it. You know what it's like if somebody's giving you something, immediately you feel obliged to get them a present too. It's just a human bias, it's the way we are. But if you're smart and you understand this, you can actually leverage this pretty well in business. So if you think about it, if you actually made the effort, even if you've got no earnings on your profile, you're just starting out, if you went through the effort to actually film a personal video saying like, hey John, hope you're doing well, I saw your job here, it looked absolutely fantastic, I know you're looking for somebody to help you with Facebook ads, I'm actually a Facebook ad expert myself, and I notice you also work in the e-commerce space, it's something that really interests me, really look forward to hopefully getting a response from you, I'd love to jump on a call, but this job excited me so much I actually just wanted to shoot you this personalized video. 60 seconds, something like that. But you can imagine, because you've gone through the effort to do that, not only are you going to stand out to everybody else, but second of all, the law of reciprocity will start to kick in and they'll feel obliged to at least give you that time back in a response, at least 50% of the time, I would say. So don't just copy paste these cover letters. If you want to stand out and you're desperate to just get that client through the door, make sure you film a personalized loom, and if you can, a little ninja technique here, go down to the review section on the job posting and you can see reviews that the client has actually given other freelancers and that the freelancers have given the client. And oftentimes if you look in the little section where the freelancers have given the client a review, they'll oftentimes say their name. So they might say like, Clive was fantastic to work with, and now you know that client's name is Clive. So when you're sending your video, you can just say, hey Clive, hope you're doing well, just wanted to shoot you this personal video. And at the same time, if you're doing a loom, maybe you'll have the job post open on there, maybe their website if you've got access to that. And as you can imagine, that's going to make you stand out so much. So step number 3 in this sort of killer process is film personal looms, find the name and be as personal as possible in your outreach methods. So if you religiously stick to that, it's going to be almost impossible that you don't actually start getting some responses coming back to you from those potential clients. And the fourth part of this system to really make this work is you need speed in replies. It's all good you getting the response, but if you're then not anywhere to be seen for 4, 5, 6, 8, 10, 12, 24 hours, as you can imagine, they've already spoken to the next person who's got more experience. And the fact you've gone in there and quickly done an application in a speedy manner, you've applied to a job that had 5 applicants at the time you applied, has probably now got 25 applicants, and your chances have already dropped. So when you get responses, speed is key. And there are a couple quick tactical tips for you here. Number 1, reply as soon as possible. So if you're using Upwork, make sure you get the Upwork desktop app and make sure you get the mobile app with notifications turned on. So immediately, the second that you get a response, you get notified. Now, if you're like me, I live on Do Not Disturb, so I'm not constantly distracted by my phone notifications all day. But for this specifically, it's that important that disregard that. If you get your other notifications come through, whatever, make sure that you have your notifications turned on. The second you get a response, I don't care what you're doing, you drop it and you respond to the client. And the second key tactical tip here is within the first message, you want to push for the phone call. You want to say, hey John, thanks for the response. That all sounds fantastic. Maybe answer the couple of questions that they might have and say, are you free now to jump on a call? Not tomorrow, not the day after. Are you free now? This speed, not only in response, but the speed to get them on a call is single-handedly the biggest differentiator between you closing that deal and not. I'm not even joking. If you jump on that call there and then, everything else is basically disregarded because you've got other freelancers and other people that are still going to be applying to that job, sure. But if you've jumped on a 1-hour phone call, you've built a rapport, you've built a relationship, they're already interested, you're offering the service. If you do that, the chances are that after an hour spent on the phone with you, they're going to go back, sift through even more applications, speak to another half dozen people. Sure, that can happen and it will happen from time to time, but the likelihood of that happening is massively decreased, and that's what you've got to play. It's like with poker, right? You might have a pair of aces, but you can still lose the hand if somebody's got a straight, right? The thing with poker is you play the hand that you've got. You play purely based off statistics and stats. So you've just got to treat this the same way. What can you do to make sure the percentage is in your favor? And replying as fast as possible and pushing for that call as fast as possible is massively going to push the odds back in your favor. And then the fifth and final thing is about the call itself. Jump on that call ideally there and then, not tomorrow, not the day after. You want to make sure there's 2 key things here. Number 1, you want to make sure you build a really good rapport. And ideally the phone call should, if possible, go on for 45 minutes, an hour, if not longer. Dive deep into the business, find out all about what they're looking for, find out all about their business journey so far, their goals, everything. By the time you get off that call, you should know everything there is to do with their business and their marketing goals. And even that person as a human being, do they have kids? What are their interests? The more you can build a rapport with the person and the business and understand that business, the more likelihood it is you're going to close a deal once you've got that level of rapport. That's the whole reason I landed my first client. I had 0 experience. I didn't know what I was doing. I was terrible at sales, but I jumped on with good intention, just really wanted to help this guy, and I found out all about his kids. I found out about his career, his wife, everything. And we had about an hour and a half, 2-hour phone call, and then I closed a deal. And the client actively told me, look, I know you don't have the most experience, but I want to work with you. And that's the power of building rapport. So ideally, the more time you can get that prospect to spend with you on the phone, the more rapport you can build, the more likely you are to close a deal. And then the second part of this for the sales calls is you just want to make sure you get commitments at the end of that call, whether that's to do an audit, whether that's another call booked in, or maybe even you're in Slack and you've got the onboarding process sent across. The key thing here is though, for the sales call, build rapport, make sure it lasts as long as possible, because the longer a prospect spends with you, the more likely they are to close. And then make sure you get some level of a commitment at the end of the phone call. Now, seriously, I cannot believe I'm even telling you guys this. It is such a valuable 5-step strategy. I literally can guarantee you this. If you go and follow this 5-step strategy and you've been trying cold email before LinkedIn, this will be the needle mover. You don't have to use Upwork when you're doing 20K a month and you're scaling your agency. You can go over to your cold email, your paid ads. If you're looking to get your foot in the door, if you're looking for some momentum, some proof of concept, maybe you don't even care about the money, you just want to learn on the job, you just want to prove that you can actually get this agency off the ground. This system here works. I've seen it work hundreds of times with my students, and I'm hoping if you can just stay consistent, I promise you now, the only thing stopping you going and making this work is your own discipline to actually stay consistent with this system. If you do it, I can literally guarantee you that you will get results. Now, look, if you found value in this video and you're looking for any higher level training or mentorship from myself, all the links to my programs and mentorship programs are down in the description down below. And if you enjoyed this video, go and check this video out here. This is actually how I used Upwork to land a 50K client without ever actually talking to them on the phone or ever doing any outreach. So check this video out here. And if you enjoyed this as well, subscribe for more content exactly like this.